Okay, Mr. Gray, you ready? All right, council, let's get down to business. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Creel, seconded by Mr. Tisdale. Any discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Mayor's report.
Today, we'll start out with community development, and then we're going to go
All right, thank you. Council reports.
None.
None. No report.
No report.
No report. No report. No report. I have no report. Citizens' comments have a total time 45 minutes if we have any. We'll go ahead and open it up. Anybody on my left, your right, would like to speak? Raise your hand, be recognized. Anybody on my right, your left? Anyone in the back? Citizen comments is now closed. Clerk would read the policy agenda.
Subject matter of this meeting is to discuss the fiscal year 2025-2026 municipal budget and for related purposes.
All right, Mr. Weaver, you can have opening remarks or have your director, however you choose.
that, or
Our guest, okay. Is this, you're not on this part of the agenda though, is?
He's available if there are questions about insurance, or if you want to give him 10 minutes, basically.
All right, we'll give you a few minutes, kind of deviate from the agenda, but saw if you come up.
Can you just hear how the costs going up, down? That's,
Yeah, that's fine.
minutes.
Here we go. All right.
Side.
We almost forgot you. I had to look twice to see who that was.
All righty, I will be brief. I was invited by Mr. Glavin and Mr. Tisdale, and then they almost forgot about me, so I know I'm not wanted here. Just kidding. So my name's Cy Easterling, and I'm working with the Insurance Committee, which is Mr. Glavin and Mr. Tisdale and Mr. Marshall, to present you your health insurance options for 2025-2026. We have been working on your self-funded health insurance for at least 15, 20 years now, and so what I have here is, I'm not going to go into extreme detail on this. This is a budget workshop, but I did want to present to you that year over year, from what we had projected for this year, which ends at the end of September, versus what we have projected for next year and the reinsurance renewal and everything involved, we're looking at basically a flat renewal on your health insurance. Now, you are self-funded, okay? You pay the claims, you pay an admin cost, and you pay a premium. And this sheet I gave you will break down everything that I just mentioned. Briefly, your administrative cost of the TPA remains the same. Your specific stop-loss premium did increase. That's the only increase that we had. It was a 17% increase. We have a reduced population this year on a snapshot in time, so that ends up being about a 14% dollar-over-dollar increase, just on the specific premium. So that amounts to about $250,000 is what the increase is on the specific premium. Your aggregate stop-loss premium did not change at all. Your estimated claims cost, so what we do is we get our actuaries to look at your population, look at your plan, and make projections on what we think you're going to spend in claims in any one year. Your projection for claims did not go up. It remained the same. Why is that? Well, there's a number of factors involved, but the main thing is you had a really good year this year, and we can get into that at a different time if you want to, but claims-wise, you had a really good year. And so they project the same good year for you this coming up year. I guess what it comes down to is you have 14 fewer people on this plan versus when we quoted at the same time last year. That fluctuates on a daily basis. I understand that. The increase in admin cost of about $250,000 is offset by the 14 fewer people and the projected claims cost that you would have to pay of about another $260,000. So you're paying $250 more, You're saving 260 in claims costs. So what it comes down to, what I'm telling you today is that we expect you to pay total about $9.96 million total in admin costs and claims costs, if everything goes according to plan. That is the total cost for the plan. That is before you get any employee contributions, any pharmacy rebates, or any reinsurance money back on your high-dollar claimants. Last year, we projected roughly the same number, 9.97 last year and 9.96 this year. Any questions on that?
So to restate, we got 14 fewer that you've analyzed at this point in time today. However, if we're successful in recruiting and filling our vacancies and we go 14 over that number, that's a 28-person swing based on this analysis, so that would certainly increase our out-of-pocket.
Correct. We project claims based on the tier of coverage that an employee selects, so employee only, employee plus spouse, employee plus children, or family. Obviously, a family unit is going to have higher claims than an employee only.
All right, the second point, as you mentioned, part of the decrease was we had a good year, particularly the pharma, is that correct?
That's correct.
So the use of drugs, put it mildly, has been less expensive for whatever reasons. We're using an alternative, we're using a cheaper, we're using a recommended medication, and because we're getting better at that, that was able to drive that cost up to offset the increase in the premiums, correct?
Correct. And I'm glad you brought that up. Through, I have 9 months of data for this plan year. I don't have July's data yet. But through 9 months, through changing our pharmacy benefit manager and implementing a Canadian pharmacy program, a copay savings program, and what they call a PA path where you get funding from alternative sources for high-dollar medications, you've saved $530,000 documented that we have saved by moving PBM vendors in 9 months. $530,000.
What other opportunities do we have to drive costs down that we haven't, that's not in this projection? Are there any other opportunities that could drive costs down a little bit more?
We could always look at plan design changes. We could look at shifting money to the employees, but you've had a good year. I know the employees pay their fair share. We could look at some things offline this coming year, but for this plan year, I believe that we're on the right track and we don't need to make any other changes.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions.
Thank you, Si. I don't have any questions. I know for those employees, annually, they look to see if their costs will increase as employees, their contributions, and right now, we don't anticipate those contributions based on whether it's the employee only, employee and spouse, employee family, or so forth. We don't expect an increase at all for next year.
And one final point too, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the dental insurance, the vision insurance, and the life insurance, there's no change in the rate for any of those, so that all remains the same as well. I know that Diana has that factored into a similar budget line or the same budget line, so there's no change in that as well. So I have a whole bunch of flat renewal conversation to tell you about.
I think that's all I have. Mr. Marshall, any questions you might have?
Anyone else have any questions? Mr. Creel.
And you may have covered this. You said no increase in rates, correct? Is there increase, decrease in coverage? Coverage remains the same.
Coverage remains the same. There's no increase in rates for dental, vision, and life insurance because we're paying a premium. As far as the rates, you can set those based on what we project the claims to be and the fixed costs. So when you say rates, you're self-funded, but there's no increase in cost in the medical on the projected.
And the coverage stayed the same.
Coverage is the same, correct.
David, you have
Is there any way, do you see any possibility of maybe even lowering the rate for employees?
Well, from my standpoint, what I can tell you is what your fixed costs are going to be and what we project the claims costs to be, which are variable. I can give you those numbers and those figures. As far as setting a budget, that's where I kind of wipe my hands and let Diana and y'all take care of that. But, I can tell you what the costs are going to be, but from a budget standpoint, you can really set the rates and the employee contributions to be what you want them to be. We've changed that over time. Costs have gone up over time. We've increased the employee contribution to a fair percentage across the board of the total premium. But again, that's up to y'all as to what you want to set it to be. It's totally your choice.
When was the last time it was increased?
Was it last year or 2 years ago? I believe 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago.
Mr. Marshall, in the past, we had a two-tier structure where the employee paid one rate, and then if you had a spouse, child, or family, you paid a separate rate. We moved that to a four-tier rate, which is more common now: employee, employee plus spouse, employee plus children, and family. And as we made that change, the percentage of the total premium versus what the employees were paying per tier got a little off. And so what we did was we figured out what the total premium would be, cost, variable cost plus, premium cost for each tier, and we benchmarked it across the national average and said, okay, if the employee paid 8% of the total premium per tier, what would that number be? And that way, no matter what tier you're on, you're paying the correct percentage as a part of that tier. So we made that change 2 years ago, and that's how we've come up with the employee contributions today.
So in essence, the city pays 92% of the plan cost.
That is correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Mr. Tisdale.
Si, just touch briefly on the lasers. That's what's printed in red, because we've got four new council members. Thank you.
So what the reinsurance carrier does is you have two levels of reinsurance. The main one is what we call your specific stop loss. That's where you're paying the majority of your premium. What that says is that you, the city, you're going to pay the first $125,000 of claims per person. Anything over $125,000 goes into a bucket, and when that bucket gets to $150,000, reinsurance pays everything over and above that. All right? So when they know about a high-dollar claimant or a potential high-dollar claimant, somebody that might have cancer, might need a transplant, whatever it might be, they can project those costs. Let's take the first one over here. It says $350K plus $100K. This particular individual has something that reinsurance knows about, and they said that, hey, we project their cost to be $350,000 for next year, and if a certain thing happens, it'll be an additional $1,000. So they're setting that person up a separate deductible. So instead of you paying the first $125,000 on them, you're paying the first $350 or $450 or whatever that number is. Now, these are not final. These are kind of our initial lasers. I do anticipate 2 of these coming off because we get our clinical team to verify with the reinsurance and the underwriters and make sure that everything is fair and is right. And we don't think 2 of these are correct, and I do think 1 more could be reduced. So this is not final, and I'm hopeful that we get 2 of those off.
Thank you, Si. And the other thing is, thank you for meeting with us. And now we've been doing this, working with you specifically for, 12 years or thereabouts. So we appreciate all the time and effort you and your staff put into this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tisdale. Anyone else have any other questions related to this? Si, you're always available if somebody wants to pick up the phone, they have a thought or a question.
Absolutely.
Always available if any of the council members have a thought, or y'all want to reach one of the members of the insurance committee. Okay, thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Weaver, your show.
All right, sir. Development.
Well, I just want to let you know that I have Ani Gazzo here, who is the hospitality manager. She runs the visitor center and is over the rental also of the Old Brick House. I also have our historic administrator, Mandy Hornsby, here today because there might be some questions about the Old Brick House. And she's been involved in the detail work on the contract for some of the work that we're doing. So if we get into those details, I'll call them up. But for the most part, we're asking for a $298,000 increase. I'll tell you right up front that a big part of what we're asking for has to do with the chiller system at the visitor center is going to have to be completely rebuilt. And there's work that has to be done before they can start on the chiller system. We've been informed it's going to take about 5 months to build that system over there. and there's about $12,000 worth of work that has to be done before they can even start to work on the chiller system. So that's a big part of the increase that we're asking for. Community development has, just before you asked, we have 32 positions, full-time, all full-time in community development. 4 of those are at the visitor center. We have a hospitality manager and an event coordinator and 2 center supervisors over there. And then we continue to use some temp employees over there. We currently have 21 vehicles. Out of those vehicles that we have, one is 22 years old, 2 are 21 years old, 1 is 20 years old, 1 is 19 years old, 6 are 17 years old, and 1 is 12 years old. And we do have some new ones that we've been able to get in the last few years. So part of what we're asking for also is to get at least a couple of new vehicles into this budget so that we can get rid of some of these that are eating up our repair funds for over there. The only vacant position I have available right now is the city arborist, and we've all heard a lot about that. The salary that we're offering right now is $56,000. The national average is $65,000 a year. We're asking that it be increased at least to $60,000 so that we could at least try to find a qualified applicant to take that position. They need to be ISA certified and TRAC certified, which is tree risk assessment qualified, in order to fill that position. But you'd be surprised at how much time is taken up. I've gotten at least 8 calls today about trees, and this is an ongoing thing where someone needs to be available to meet with these people, to look at their trees, to evaluate them, to determine what's going on. We had a meeting this morning at the Church of the Redeemer site again. I had to call in the consulting arborist to come over there to make sure that our consulting arborist agreed with the contractor's consulting arborist, on what was being proposed over there. But this is something that we really need to have someone full-time to take care of. As far as our department goes, some of the big ticket items, of course, is our employees and their benefits. That takes up a large part of ours, but we're basically service-oriented. We don't have to have a lot of heavy equipment or anything like that. We do have to have vehicles that we can depend on from time to time. And we also, sometimes have to have office equipment like copying machines, and a lot of those are being done on lease agreements now. So you'll see that in here. But again, like I said, the chiller system that's going to have to be rebuilt is a big part of what we're asking for as far as the increase goes. I did get a cost estimate, and I shared it with Rick earlier today. He had asked me during our initial budget hearing to take a look at what would the cost be, or an estimate would be, on farming out the entire arborist system, And again, we'd have to have somebody that was Johnny on the spot that can meet with these people and talk with them and go over all the details about what they needed. They would not have any enforcement authority. The enforcement of the ordinance would still fall on our department as far as making sure that people were complying. But the initial cost that I got from Fulghams, who has the experience and the qualifications to do all of this, was $180,000 a year. Now, that might sound reasonable for the first year, but I can almost assure you that for next year, after they see what all they'd have to deal with, that cost would be a lot higher than $180,000. But I did get that today from them. That's pretty much it. We have exactly the number of employees it takes to run our department efficiently. Every position over there is a necessary position. It's not something where we have duplication, although we do have people that automatically fill in. If our commercial building inspector is out on vacation or out sick, the residential building inspector immediately picks up his tickets and goes out and takes care of it. So we do have someone to fill in whenever someone is out. But again, we have just exactly the number that we need. $68,000 of what we're asking for in that $298,000 increase is for the audio-visual system at the Visitor Center, which has gone out and cannot be repaired. We've had Sky Frequency to look at it, and they've told us that it's beyond repair. It's going to have to be replaced. So when you add up the $174,000 for the chiller system that we got to build, and you add that $68,000 to it, you know, that eats up a good bit of what we're asking for in this increase. If you have the budget in front of you and you see that as far as supplies go, we only have $264,000 worth of supplies to get us through the year. And a lot of that has just gone up based on increased costs for those supplies and also for the increased need for some of those supplies.
Director, I'm just looking through the summary here. What category is that audiovisual in?
It's in the proposed budget. I'm assuming that they have this sheet in their packet? Okay. It's listed under 6,800. 6,800, which is capital.
I'll see it. Right here.
And the audio-visual, just so you'll know, that's the program, a couple of programs. It's the program inside of the museum over there where people walk in and they stand in front of one of those exhibits, and the history of whatever they're looking at comes across, but also part of the theater as well that shows the history of Biloxi and the event, Hurricane Katrina, and some other events that have happened here. So that's, for the most part, that's our budget.
The 68, you saying 68,000 is for what?
That is for the audio-visual program system that's inside of the Visitor Center. It's gone out and it can't be repaired, so it's going to have to be replaced if we're going to continue to use it. You know, in the museum, we have these stations that you walk into. If you're familiar with it, you walk up to one of them, and you push the button, and this tape plays that tells you the history of Biloxi or whatever it is that you happen to be standing in front of, and it's beyond repair now, so it's going to have to be
How long
replaced.
has it been out?
How long it's been out? Okay, we know it's been out since February.
So 7 months?
Yes, sir.
Any complaints about it?
Oh, yes, we get complaints about it. We also get a lot of complaints about the air conditioning being out over there because we've been having to deal with that. But we knew that budget was coming up, and we've just tried to get by the best way we can until the budget went into effect and we could make a presentation to you.
Would it be detrimental if you didn't get that 68?
Well, it would be embarrassing, to say the least. We have a system in there that tells the history of Biloxi, and people come in from all over the world and step up to it thinking they're going to hear something about Biloxi, and when it's not working, it just makes it look like...
I know a little bit about it. A lot of those videos, and it might be time to update some of them, but there were, and I think some of it was filmed at different locations, but even in here. So we hired a marketing, team or whatever, and they came and they videoed different aspects of Biloxi, the history, the attractions, the different events, the different locations, restaurants, et cetera. And the kiosk at the visitor center, you can go and choose different ones that perk your interest. You can watch the whole film of everything, or you can choose different segments. And it's done pretty good, and it shows cruising the coast, it shows different restaurants, it shows a little bit of the history, and I think it just brings people in about, hey, we want to go see that, or we want to see more of the visitor center, because it's kind of a walking museum in there a little bit. And is the IMAX still working? I haven't been in the IMAX theater. Is your IMAX is still working also, the big thing? So, and I'm in there a lot because I change out brochures from several of our properties, so I haven't pushed any of those buttons lately, but I have in the past just to get familiar with what our visitors are seeing.
And Councilman Glavin, that's an important point, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it's not just informational purposes, but it is a marketing tool that supports other businesses in Biloxi to let you know that there are other businesses that you can go to. And listen, we get this question all the time. People who walk in there just want to know, where do we go to get the best seafood on the coast, and we've got brochure racks in there, that we can hand them about all kinds of different attractions in Biloxi that they can go to.
And sometimes it gets busy in there, and most of the time you got 3 or 4 people manning the whole area. And when you're jammed up like that, I do see people over there listening, to the audio. And I think you have a volume control on there too, so it doesn't blast anybody out. So anyway, that's my 2 cents, Mr. Marshall, of what I know about it, I'm not saying we have to spend that amount or we can't shop it more or whatever. I don't know that answer, so.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
On this arborist, $60,000 a year, what would he be doing if he wasn't looking at trees? Is it full-time?
Yes, sir. It is absolutely a full-time job if you're focused on what you're doing, because it's not just that. Number one, we get calls every day to come out and examine trees that people are needing to take down, wanting to take down, or having to take down because their insurance company has told them to take them down. They have to go out and evaluate it. They have to meet with the tree committee every month and go over the permits that have been issued for that. But also, another part of what's going on, and I have a list of all the activities in here that we sent to Fulghams to look at in order to put together that price. Whenever we have a development that comes in, and part of the requirement is that they're going to have to plant trees, the arborist is responsible for monitoring those trees for 3 years to make sure that that they live through that 3-year period. And if they don't, then we have to start enforcement action to make sure that
But
they
that'd be
get.
part of his job too, to do all that.
Absolutely. There is no question this is a full-time job that demands your full attention on it. It's not something that can be done part-time.
And Councilman Nail, if I may, I give Mr. Creel a significant amount of credit. He has actually even reached out to Mississippi State in trying to get some of the future graduates to try to take a look at first jobs. So we're marketing everywhere when it's possible to do that.
Yeah.
So we're looking at different venues. How do we make sure that we're able to do those? Probably hit you up later on for a change in one of the ordinances that we might be able to tap into some additional funding on some other stuff that me and Mr. Creel.
Thank you for bringing that up. Mississippi State is actually advertising nationwide. But another major thing that happens that some of you are familiar with, Councilman Shoemaker called me recently about a route that needed to be cleared. A part of what the arborist has to do is to make sure that the streets, all along the streets, that the routes are cleared all the time to make sure that fire trucks can get through, school buses can get through. Some people have oversized RVs that they need to be able to get through, and they're damaging some of these vehicles whenever the limbs get too low, so they constantly have to monitor it. But this is the list of responsibilities that we put together from the job description that the arborist has to follow, and it's extensive. I'll be glad to provide you with a copy of it if y'all need that. So.
That's it.
I know you handle a lot of so I think that was all I was asking. Now, I know you're doing a lot of some of the arborists. You need somebody to inspect the tree, verify, whatever, something. Are we contracting that out?
At the beginning of every month, we issue a purchase order to Brad Manis. He has a company called Mansworth LLC. He's our consulting arborist, and we kind of use him the same way that we have him on retainer, whatever you want to call it, like we do some attorneys, that we issue them a purchase order at the beginning of the month. For example, David Wheeler. We're constantly having to go to David Wheeler to do a title opinion on a piece of property for code enforcement, because there's a question about who actually owns that property, and we always have to deal with the owner. Well, in a way, we do the same thing with the arborist. We issue him a purchase order at the beginning of the month, and we call him whenever we need him to come out and give us a professional assessment of something that's going on with the trees, and then he sends us a bill, but we don't pay that bill until the end of the month. We pay that purchase order, and then we issue a new purchase order for the next month.
So the longer we do that, we're still paying, and I'm sure it's costing us more.
His fee is $300 an hour for what we're having to pay.
Earlier, about 65,000. I don't know about the rest of it. Guys up here. Apparently, that's a hard position. My opinion, my two cents. Gotta be done. Kind of job. 5,000. I mean, 60.
Yeah.
More thousand more. Pay is out. Your opinion, 65,000. I mean, obviously, make it more marketable for somebody to apply.
Well, again, that's the national average, and the expectation is that this person would have the education and the experience, and someone with that kind of education, you know, I mean, we got a great set of benefits here with the city, and we really appreciate that, but if you combine the salary with the benefits, we think we'd have an attractive enough package. But that job is a lot like mine. You're constantly going to make somebody mad. Oh, yeah. And, you know, that in itself, you know, kind of discourages somebody from wanting the job unless the compensation offsets that, if you understand what I mean.
Oh, yeah,
you
I
know.
do, yes.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to have one more last question unless you do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Visitor center and anything that Mandy's got going on, I know we went over the 298,000 and some of the other numbers, and the 68,000, but does that pretty much get the visitor center or everything with, I'll say y'all's departments, back where it needs to be?
I want to say yes, it would. At the very least, it would solve a major problem at the visitor center. And I mean, you know, we've talked about the visitor center, that's the diamond of the city.
Yeah, right.
I mean, when people come there, that's the impression they get of the whole city when they go to the visitor center. And when you have to explain to somebody why the air conditioning's out, I mean, even the employees can't stay in there when the air conditioning system's out. We do have some other things that we need to upgrade. You know, we've talked about the old brick house.
Right.
We got a grant last year, and we had to add some money to it to get the roof done on the old brick house because that was the first priority, and that's supposed to start very soon.
Right. Good deal.
So we'll get the roof out of the way, and then we're going to work on the part of the problem in there. We talked about this a little bit last year, is that the old brick house, which is one of our big historic attractions in town, the brick, when it was built, actually is sitting on the ground at ground level, and it's like a sponge. It sucks water up into that brick, and the walls on the inside of the old brick house are plaster, and because that moisture is sucked up in there, we can't keep the plaster dry. So Frank Genzer, we got with Frank Genzer, the architect, and he found a contractor that has a system where you can go into the brick joint and install a moisture barrier in there that will stop the water from going all the way up into the walls. And part of the money that's in there is for that, to help pay for that. Now, once that moisture barrier goes in, we're still going to have to wait a year for the plaster to dry out before we can go in and do it. But the more that we go in and make these repairs every year, the closer we get the old brick house back to being rented all the time. Because it's very popular, even it's in its condition that it's in now, it is very, very popular for people to have weddings or receptions or something like that over there. And they continue to do that on the grounds out there. So,
And that money now is included in some of what you've got here?
It is, yes, sir.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. That's all I have. Thank you.
I just want to follow up on Councilman Shoemaker's thought on the arborist. So this arborist will be able to sign off, certify, stamp certain reports, or, you know, whether we have trees that are in a certain condition, or they'll be able to certify that as certified. And they will not, that's no extra fee that's included in the 65,000?
No.
It's not included?
If you approve the 65,000, okay.
Right.
All right, if you approve that, this would be a city employee. and they wouldn't be able to come back and charge us extra fees on top of that.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Right, no.
So any certifications, he certifies a document, that's our employee, there's no extra fee he's gonna charge, or it's in the fine print?
No, that would be a conflict of interest if we were charging.
Just have to ask.
Yeah, so,
Okay, thank you.
I got a couple questions.
Mr. Tisdale?
Wayne.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Glenn.
What are we paying the arborists now? I mean, no, yearly, what are we
the last arborist we had, we were paying a little over $50,000 a year. We don't have an arborist right now. What happened is that we had Eric Nolan here for over 30 years, all right, and then, but Eric was not just the arborist, he was also a network administrator. He was like our computer guru over there, so he got a larger salary than normal.
No, that's not what I was asking. What are we paying a contractor now?
$300 an hour.
I mean, I know, what are we paying them a year? Do you know?
We haven't had him for a year yet.
What do you think year to date since we've been using him?
It would just be a guess based on what we've done because we're calling him in.
I guess be fine.
My guess would be is it probably over $100,000 a year based on what we're doing, so.
Right.
And
That's what I was getting
that's
at.
just a guess, that's just a guess.
And I got a couple more questions. We got small equipment on here. What's $11,000? Last year y'all needed 5,200, now it's 11. I mean, what is the small equipment that y'all be using?
What is the account number on that, Mr. Gray?
6204.
Okay, sorry.
It's in supplies.
This is the additional cost covering, this is additional to include covering the cost of the NVR security system at the Visitor Center. What it is at the Visitor Center, we have some areas in there where we don't have security cameras right now. And we need to put security cameras in there so that we can monitor every part of the Visitor Center. That's what this is for.
Okay. And one more. We have 73,000 on trees. I mean, what are we buying trees for?
Well, what that is whenever someone takes down trees in the city, there's a mitigation requirement. They either have to replant 2 trees for every 1 tree they take down, or they have the option of paying money into the tree bank. Sometimes there's just not enough room for them to plant trees on that same site because you get into root competition and those kind of things. So what happens is that some people would rather just cut a check and put it in there. Now, the ordinance says that that money can only be spent on replacement trees, and in order to spend that money, we have to come to the city council to get it released. So what that's for, our tree committee, a part of their responsibility is to seek out sites around the city to plant replacement trees on city property, whether it's a park or a cemetery or whatever it is. And the tree committee is working on that to come up with a plan for those locations. So whenever that plan comes up, we would come to the city council and get your approval to release X number of dollars for that particular park or place.
So I got it. Let me just follow up with that. So what that means is even though this is showing an increase in the expense, there's an offset in a fee that we charge the developer to put that money in a mitigation bank that we're going to draw to ultimately pay for this.
Yeah,
Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's their choice about what they want to do.
I understand all that, but my point that I'm trying to connect this expense is that we have funds in a tree mitigation bank, and when we issue this contract to go plant new trees, those funds are going to ultimately be used to pay for that expense. Is that accurate or not?
But that's for, yes, sir.
Okay. I just wanted to tie that in.
That is not us asking for an increase in that line item. That particular line item only increases if somebody pays into the.
Understood. That's the point I wanted to make for the council.
One more. Land clearing, 110,000.
Yeah, I'm sorry, what was that again, Mr. Gray?
Let's see, it was 6684, 115,000, 38,000 more than it was last year. I mean, what are we, is that right-of-ways and stuff that we're clearing?
No, what this has to do with code enforcement. In other words, the land clearance is whenever we have a code enforcement case that we bring to y'all and we have to go out and hire a contractor to go clean it up, that's where the money comes from to pay for that. Now, one of the reasons that you see that there's a big jump in that from last year to this year is that most of last year, we only had 2 code enforcement officers to cover the whole city. And now we're fully staffed for the first time in a while, so you're gonna see that increase. The good thing about that money, though, is that we get that money back because through a state law change that we requested and got several years ago, whenever we spend money out of that line item to go clean up Jerry Creel's property, because he's not taking care of it, it's put on the tax rolls as a special assessment. And next year, when I go to pay my taxes, I have to write one check for my taxes and for that special assessment. So that money is basically going back into the general fund after we collect it back.
Right. That's all I have for now.
Follow up on that. The special assessment, if the person don't pay their taxes, the special assessment also has to be paid at the same time, or do they lose their property?
Well, the way that it works is that if somebody doesn't pay their taxes, that special assessment is still there plus their taxes. Now, I can tell you in Biloxi what I've learned, somebody's gonna pay the taxes on that property. There are people that make a living by watching the tax rolls to see who doesn't pay their taxes, and they will go pay it. They become the first redeemer on that particular taxes, all right? All during that year, if the owner actually goes back in and pays their taxes, then they redeem their property back, and that person that had paid the taxes gets a interest off of whatever they had put onto it. But after 3 years, if the taxes are not paid, then the first person that paid the taxes on there has the opportunity to go in and request a deed on it, and could get it from the county. So
Can a person pay the taxes and not the assessment?
no. The state law, the way the state law was passed, they have to pay both at the same time.
Okay. Mr. Crew, and then Mr. Tisdale.
Just a couple questions here. Let's see, 6244 signs. So is the increase?
I think that was partly because the signs were being taken out of another area. Mandy's more familiar with that than me because a lot of this has to do with historic landmarks and those kind of things.
Yes, so I requested an increase in signage. There's 2 reasons. Now, we have several signs you'll see that are historic markers around the city of Biloxi. There is 2 types. You'll see the huge ones. Those are archives and history signs. They have like a whole good paragraph on them. We have 2 that are busted, and then I've had a request from residents for 2 more added. They are about $2,780 a piece to replace. That would be 4. And then our oval landmark markers, which are made out of bronze, there is a monopoly on bronze casting. They've gone up from when Bill was here from about $500 a piece to $1,100 a piece, and that is if I order them in batches. We've established 3 local landmarks since I've been here, and I've also had requests because properties have had them removed. We've had this program a while, so sometimes the property sold and someone takes it with them. So I think I accommodated for 5 or 6 of those.
Okay, perfect.
Also where the Wool Market sign that we're replacing now, this is where that money would come from as well.
Oh, okay, great. Money well spent.
So we can decrease that then, right? It looks,
They got some good plastic signs, I think,
Legos are really inexpensive. No, so, hey, 6254, more trees. I'm just looking at, no, that, we've discussed that, right? No, it was, hold on, there was, all right, let's see, 6432, other professional services.
The bulk of other professional services are the temps that we use at the visitor center. That's where most of that money goes. Those people that work over there are full-time. One of the good things about using temps is that if they don't work out, unlike employees, us having to go through civil service and everything else, if they don't work out, we just basically send them in and have them send us somebody else that's effective. But we also pay our attorneys out of that. David Wheeler is paid out of that. We pay the yearly fees to Back Bay Mission, comes out of that line item. Express, which is one of the temp companies, we're also paying the city arborist, the consulting arborist out of there, and we have Fulghams already on the Fulgham company. We're also using on some of the historic trees in town to make sure that they're treated the right way, but that's basically where it is. We always run out of money in that line item. Matter of fact, Danielle and I were talking today that when we pay this next bill to the temp service, then I'm going to have to move some money from somewhere else to cover them to get us through until the end of September.
Gotcha, okay.
You get Tisdale, and then I'll come back to you.
So 6602 real quick, you're saving us money there. What, the 119,000 difference?
That is, I believe that is money that was moved to another location. That was for the old brick house, the visitor center, community development, the lighthouse, which I'm still trying to get estimates on. Our lighthouse, the roof, if you've noticed the roof on top of it, the white covering has peeled. We also have some repairs to make on the inside. But we've got Frank Genzer doing an evaluation over there right now, so as soon as he gets that estimate to us, we'll be bringing that to the council to take a look at. A part of that is the, the roof. If you look underneath that at 6602, grant 200, all right, what that is the $20,000 that we got in a grant last year, but we had to match that grant for the roof repair and some brick repair over at the brick house.
Okay.
So that's where the bulk of that's going.
Okay, and then I'm assuming that the what is that, 6616, that's the chillers?
Yes, sir, it is. And Patterson has given us the estimate on that, and I had him on speakerphone with the mayor and with Mr. Weaver and them to explain about the way that process works. This chiller is not something that you can just order from the store and install it. It has to be built from scratch. And that's when he told us it would take about 5 months to build it.
So you can't get that at Elsie's?
No, sir.
No, okay. So tree maintenance, 6681, there was nothing last year, but then it's 30,000, is it?
I think that's a newly created line item because whenever we plant trees out there, there's an expectation that we're going to maintain those trees to make sure that they survive. We've had a request already to plant some trees at the dog park to provide some shade out there, and part of that is to make sure that that they don't die on us, and that if we need water there, we can get water to it somehow to make sure that they have a water source.
Okay, and then let's see, one last question is on the purchase of your vehicles. I'm assuming that 6830, the 80,000 is the two additional vehicles that you were looking at?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so those would be in addition to, or they would be in replace, in lieu of, in replace?
Well, we're hoping that when we get two in, that we can get rid of two.
Okay.
What we've had to do in the past, though, is because we have one to go down, if for whatever reason we have to send one into the shop, we've got to have something to rely on. But 8 of those vehicles that we had over there, and we only have 6 now, were actually given to us by MDA after Hurricane Katrina to make sure that we still had a means of transportation, and they're just worn out. I mean, There's no other way to put it. We've run them to death, and we've had to rob parts from one to put on another to keep them going, and they've just had it.
I got you. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Tisdale.
Yeah, Jerry, just a thought with Mississippi State, and would they allow a student to intern at no cost in some capacity, and that would allow you to take a look at them, see the quality of the work they do, and maybe just slide them into that position?
I would think they would be willing to do that. We caught them at a bad time. We caught them right at the end of a semester where everybody had graduated. And she said, right now, I just don't have anybody because they all had jobs to go to. There's a nationwide shortage on arborists right now. But She did say that for us to check back with them at the end of this next semester, we could do it, but I would think they would be open to that, Dr. Tisdale.
Okay. Did I understand you to say that you have 32 full-time employees?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Diane, I'm looking at the mayor's summary, and he shows for fiscal year 26, he's looking at 47 employees there, and I'm thinking 10 of those positions would be the planning commission.
15.
That's right, 15,
And
okay.
just on the planning commission.
Gotcha, that accounts for the difference, thank you.
Let me mention one thing on that. David Washer retired this year after 40-plus years of being on the planning commission, and he was one of the ones that had not taken the per diem that's offered there, but I would expect that the new planning commission member that comes on would, so we added that to the budget this year.
Okay, bingo, okay. So you're looking at 32 positions next year or 31?
There are 32 positions.
Right.
Again, 4 of those are at the Visitor Center.
Gotcha,
So
okay.
no change there.
And those are full-time positions?
All full-time.
Okay. And I was looking at the, I think we get our temps from Express Employment.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and typically in any given month, you have about 5 part-timers out there. It may vary a little from month to month, but okay, that answers that question.
And just for your information, the Visitor Center is booked through
all the way to 2026.
I'll let her run out.
book solid all 2026.
Right. On item 6672, line item, it's convention, conference, training, it's increasing by 13,000. Just, and I'm assuming that's for certifications or something, if you...
It is, and also to participate in the conferences that concern American Planning Association. We're just like the fire department in that sense. You have to go back every year for so many hours to maintain your certifications.
CEUs, okay. Thank you, Jerry. One other item, increasing software licensing or maintenance is increasing 38,000. I'm sorry, that's line item 6689.
I can tell you where the bulk of that is. We have asked for a floodplain management program called Forerunner, and this has many advantages. I had Mr. Weaver come over and go through the PowerPoint transition, but a lot of the things that we're having to do for our floodplain management, which we absolutely have to do, we have to comply with FEMA regulations, we have a flood ordinance, and we have to do it. A lot of those things we're having to do manually now, and what this would do is allow us to basically digitize what we're doing. I have a list here I'll be glad to provide to you.
That's fine, that explains the significant increase there. That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tisdale. Mr. Neal?
Hey, when you get these 2 vehicles, let me tell you what you need to do to them. I don't know if you ever seen the code enforcement cars in Gulfport. They got code enforcement on the doors that looks like a police car. That'll show when you go up in front of these people's house, you ain't playing. We code enforcement. We just pulled up.
I think they know that we're code enforcement. A lot of them don't answer the door.
Yeah.
So we wind up having to do it through either through certified mail or through coming to the city council to get approval to
Yeah,
get
but
it.
them signs,
Yeah,
they're pretty intense.
it's a good thought. Thank you.
Look at one of them.
Okay.
Hi.
All right, final scrub, Mr. Marshall?
Do you have an idea of what kind of income?
From renting the facilities, do you have?
How many facilities are you guys renting? You're in charge of how many facilities that are renting out?
The facilities that we're in charge of course, the community development building, but the 2 that we rent are the Visitor Center, and we have multiple rooms at the Visitor Center that we rent, and then we also have the old brick house. We're not over the Civic Center, and or Donald Snyder or any of those fall under Parks and Recreation.
So you have just those 2, and you're saying one of them is down. Are you still renting the old brick house out?
We do occasionally get a rental over there for a wedding or something out on the grounds, because the grounds are beautiful. And again, we've got one of the most beautiful trees in Biloxi in back of the old brick house. We're trying to have that designated as a majestic oak tree for the city, which would give it additional protection.
Okay.
That should be double majestic. I mean, that is a magnificent
Yeah,
tree.
it's one of the prettiest trees I've ever seen.
Top secret.
So did she come up with the income? How much we making off of it? Losing, making? Okay, I would like to, if you don't mind making sure that I do get that, and Mr. Creel, you can email that to me.
Sure.
And so we're not, so there is some income to offset.
No question that there's income coming in on it, and I think you'll be surprised by the figure that you're going to see. Of course, we get a lot of people now, they're requesting waivers or discounts or something like that, but you'll be surprised at how much we're making off of the visitor center. Yes.
So those that are requiring, that are asking for waivers and things like that, are you in a position to try to show us a dollar value? So if someone asks for us for a waiver, if we don't put a dollar value, so it's like we didn't donate anything. But are you in a position to even give it to us in that kind of way?
Well, what would happen is that we would tell the people what the charge would be, and then they would have to write a letter to the mayor, and the mayor would have to present it to the council saying, here's how much that they would have been charged for renting that facility or having that event, same case. And then y'all would have to vote on whether or not to approve that discount or that waiver.
So I guess the question needs to come to you. Anyway, we can get a list, so when someone says to us, hey, we want to, if you can donate this facility, there's a dollar value, can we keep a running total of how much we're donating now? We're losing.
Rick, you want to speak to that? I saw y'all kind of motioning over there. You want to speak to what Mr. Marshall was asking for?
Well, I was going to answer the rental income so far for the fiscal year.
Okay, and what is that?
It's about 63,000 through July, and we're forecasting 80 for the year.
Okay.
And I believe Rachel Quave tracks the
Yes, she can give
in-kind
that to me.
transactions that appear on the agendas.
She gave it to me.
Oh, you got it, you didn't share it with nobody. Okay, it's cool.
And our business-
No, we're good.
She
Yeah, we're
was supposed to
rolling
give
now.
it
We're
all
good.
to all of us, correct?
Oh, yeah.
And two, our busiest times of year for renting the visitor center is Christmas and Mardi Gras. That's a lot of the times where it's just absolutely booked out, and there's no extra openings over there.
Do you market it any kind of way besides just on the website, city website?
Well, it's on the website. We have an event coordinator that does promotional information for the visitor center, yes.
You have an event coordinator?
We have an event coordinator there who takes care of all the reservations at the visitor center. Whenever someone calls in, it goes to Angie Ladner, and Angie Ladner lets them know, she goes over with them, okay, we do have that date open, we don't have that date open. What do you need? How do you need the tables to be set up? How many people are you going to need there for that event? And then she gives them the price of what it's going to cost for that particular room. Each room over there has a different cost associated with it, depending on the size. And then, of course, how much of our equipment they're going to need to rent as far as tables and chairs and those kind of things.
Okay. So we have no marketing of, it's a beautiful building. So we have no marketing to let people know, even if you look on maybe YouTube, TikTok or something that says, about the beautiful building, you can rent this for weddings, receptions and things like that.
Well,
So by the time they, waiting on Mardi Gras and Christmas, we
Oh, no, I mean to indicate that that's the only time that we're busy. I mean, you just heard, we're booked up through 2026, so obviously the marketing is working that we're doing, because if people call now, we wouldn't have anything to open to offer them.
Okay.
And lots of time, multiple events going on at one time at the visitor center, not just one, so.
Okay. I'm good.
All right, that's good. Anyone else?
If I may, Councilman Glavin, Marshall, you still need that information, or are you good with what Diana said?
Okay, she gave me the number of $63,000, that's the income up until, when was that, July? Okay, and we also have he's sitting on the information that I need about what we are donating now. I'm good.
Bringing it up now.
Huh? Would you,
We got an alternative report for you.
Okay.
No charge, no charge.
I don't get up now.
All right, everybody good with this? Okay, we're gonna go.
Good.
Thank you, Director. We'll go into ports. Right?
Currently, right now, Mr. Guy, so we owe him nothing. That right now. I just want to make sure that we're tracking whatever Mr. Marshall needs, that we're able to provide to the council.
All right.
I think I'm good.
Ports. All right, we're gonna go into ports and harbor. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi. Yep.
There it is, all the way to the back.
All the way to the back. I'd just like to make an opening remark. I just want to kind of give you credit for some leadership. This is not a very easy job. You don't get a lot of accolades, kind of trying to keep everything, pardon the pun, shipshape. But I got to say that you've brought some cohesiveness, and I'm down at the, and I'm sure Mr. Gray's down there a lot, and some of us, I hear really good things. There's a lot of work to be done, for sure. There's still some grumbling about some policies, but overall, I think everybody recognizes that you're giving it your all to make it the best it can be. So I just wanted to give you those kudos as we get started today. Go ahead, opening remarks.
Our budget is pretty similar to last year. The large differences are we're requesting 3 replacement vehicles and a replacement lawnmower. And everything else is pretty similar to what it was last year.
What's your name?
Even if I can, I'm going to make sure that she brags a little bit on the tour she did with the feds the other day.
Excuse me, what is your name?
I'm sorry,
State your name for the councilman.
Christina Johnson.
Can you tell us your job duties?
My job duty?
Yes, so, I mean,
Christina,
it's
if
the
you-
first time in front of us, so.
Okay,
Christina, if you need to pull the mic just a little closer so the world can hear you.
I apologize.
A little closer. You want to wake up Craig High back there.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. I oversee the 4 municipal harbors, all of the boat ramps, fishing piers, in the city. Just take care of everything day to day, make sure everything's running smoothly. We lease all the boat slips, the fishing tournaments, and just make sure everything is clean and working properly.
Okay, do y'all bake shop, that following you too?
I can't hear you. I'm
We
sorry.
have a bake shop down there?
We have 2 bait shops, one at the Small Craft Harbor and one at Point Cadet.
And their income comes to?
Their income, their rentals come to us, yes.
Do you know how that works? Did they her?
We rent the buildings,
Okay,
so we receive just the monthly building rental.
okay, how much is that?
At the Small Craft, it's a total of $2,200 a month, and I'm not sure about Point Cadet because it's a little different right now. With them, they don't,
You have that?
they have a credit for. It's Gore & Flow's bait shop.
Any other income coming in?
We have all of our slip rentals, we have others.
How many slips are there?
So what's the total? What's the total for both? Do we have that?
I just have 42 for the, yeah.
So you have it together? You have it together combined? Yeah, what is the total? Because it's, according to her numbers, it's about 28,000
No, I got 40, wait a minute, how much is it?
for the one.
For the one, 4,200 a month.
So it's probably
I
about
know,
the same.
for the bait shops,
Yes.
It's $2,200 at the Small Craft a month, and then the Gorham Flows Bait Shop is set up a little, it's different. We don't actually receive that right now because they have a credit since Hurricane Katrina. That's Rachel that has that contract.
Has a credit since Hurricane, 20 years?
They've done something with fuel tanks. It's something, Rachel Quave knows the answer to that. I do not.
So they probably put the fuel tanks in and then you get them credit for them putting the fuel tanks.
Go, Rachel.
There's your report.
All I heard was my
There's your report.
Diggany's Bait Shop and that credit.
Gordon Close split is how it goes. It's we own part, state owns part, and it's higher education. All of that is administered.
And that's for which Point Cadet?
Point Cadet.
Just Point Cadet.
Just, we're talking about Gordon Close. It's actually N&J Enterprises is the proper name of it, that lease. It's just that bait shop and fuel dock.
What do we get? What's our annual rent?
In reality, nothing. Because how it works is they pay for the equipment that's out there.
They installed that on their dime or penny? Okay.
So our portion of the rent is credited back.
And once that's paid off, then we'll be in the,
So how long we gotta do that?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
It's like an open end, no end?
no, we get slip rentals.
Or what was put in, that was actually put in and installed. Instead of at Small Craft Harbor, we own that stuff.
Wait, let's stick with the Point Cadet first.
But there, Danny paid to put that in. The Fallows put that in on our property. It stays with our property. So we're essentially paying for it by providing a rent credit.
So we had no cash outlay for that. He did it out of his pocket. He had the cash outlay. I'm saying the city had no cash outlay. He had the cash outlay. Okay, and so do you know any way I can get those numbers? You can email them to me?
What the credits are. The other income is the slip rentals.
Yes, we have 425 slips between the four harbors, and then we also have building rentals like McElroy's, Yule's, the Golden Nugget.
All right, so, but the councilman's asking, he's trying to get these revenue generators, right?
Right, I'm trying to get the revenue.
So if you could, I think this is what, don't let me put words in your mouth, but how much we get from slip rentals, how much we get from leases from Yule's and the different entities.
Okay.
And then we have special events like the Billfish tournament. When they come in, they pay for boat slips when they put their boats down there, don't they?
Right.
Correct. So those are some of your sources of income.
Yes.
So that's what you're asking about.
Yeah, we're a tourism town, and that's a part of our income. We need to know how we looking, what we got coming in, what we don't.
Because the bait shops are that much.
Do you lose any money on like the Billfish? Do we lose?
We do not. We made $104,000, and then our expenses, after expenses, we made $86,000.
Let me say one more thing. This is like water and sewer is an enterprise fund.
Yes.
So any revenue that's generated has to be spent for the expenses for the port. It can't be transferred to any kind of other project or general fund or anything like that to be used for any other purpose. This is one of those that is an enterprise fund. Any revenues collected have to be spent to improve the port. Okay, sorry, Councilman, step on your time there, but I apologize.
Okay. You said it better than me. I just need to know where the money coming in, how's it coming in, and I can calculate it out.
All right.
So basically, the numbers that you're giving us right now just wasn't covered for your income.
So Say that again?
The amount that you're asking for, is not, your income doesn't help out with this at all? Or I'm trying to find out. But this is what's left afterwards, that you're still gonna hold?
Right.
So you make more than you spend?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The port gets a 1 mil from the county, and that provides for port operations. Part of it goes to debt that came out in 2017, and then the other part goes for capital projects within. Any money left over after the debt, we do move into an account for repairs and maintenance for the port as well. But year-to-date, let me see. Year-to-date through July, actually, this is through June, because we haven't posted all of July's revenue. The port is sitting at almost $3.7 million of revenue. Right, this is just the expense portion.
It's not coming out of the general fund.
That's what I need to know. So basically, you're the good guy.
I'd like to think so.
You got a smile at it. Enjoy it.
Yeah. Oh, we ain't got to pay. Spend it all, baby, spend it.
All right, who's next? Well, I'll start on this end. Mr. Gray?
I
anything?
have a couple questions. And first of all, training for your people. What kind of training do you require for your harbor master guys that you have?
They have to do training for pumping out boats, identifying how the boat needs to sit, how to tie lines on boats. That's the big part. And then all of like the office stuff, they've had training on how to use our credit card machine and do our paperwork. But the main training is the pump out stations, like to pump a boat out, and if a boat was sinking, taking on water
So
for that.
what is the policy if a boat is taking on water?
We go directly to the boat. We identify the problem. If it is urgent, we put a pump on it immediately, and we contact the boat owner to come down.
How many boats have sank in the last 4 years?
In the last 4 years, completely submerged,
Completely submerged.
I would say completely one that is completely submerged. We've had many take on water that we've saved.
Okay. Because I know of 3 that sank down there
Completely?
completely.
I don't know if it's been,
One was by the fireboat. It completely sank. Then you had a shrimp boat.
yeah, the shrimp boat.
And then there was one more, I can't recall, I think it was down in Point Cadet.
The one by the fireboat I thought was longer than 4 years, but it could have
Well,
been
it could,
6 years.
not much more than 4.
Yeah, not much more, but yeah.
Because I had a boat down there and,
Remember?
right, and the problem was when a boat was sinking, the harbor people would just try to call the people. The boat was listening, and I kept telling them, hey, this is going on, and he told me, whoever it was, that they could not get on that boat.
That is not the way we function now at all. They are trained and instructed that you save that boat unless it is completely unsafe for you to board the boat.
Right, because if a boat sinks, how much does that cost the city?
It's the boat owner's liability, their insurance covers that. It should not cost the city anything.
So if the EPA, the water, and the thing?
Responsibility of the boat owner, it's in their berth rental agreements.
Okay. All right, that's all I have for right now.
I got some. First of all, your mom would be very proud of you.
Thanks.
Just one question. Your recurring capital outlay, the 134,000, if you could just briefly, 6,800, 6,830,
Okay, the 6,800 is for 3 replacement trucks, and then the 6,830 would be for the replacement lawnmower.
Perfect, thank you.
Mr. Tisdale?
Yeah, I want to open by saying I'm not a boater like some of these people up here, but I hear a lot of positive comments from folks who do have boats and slips with the city. 6494, an electricity increase of 11,000. I'm just curious, is there more slips added, or?
It's not the slips, there's more working, and this year, it was an additional $10,000 just for the section for the billfish. So, I mean, we're just more being used.
Well, okay, so it's usage, okay.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Thank you very much. Oh, wait, one other thing. Anything in store, not surprises, but do you have anything in the works for this next year that's?
We're going to do a lot of the much-needed repairs at the boat ramps and at the piers. The second phase of the floating docks is set to begin next year. And then we're going to do smaller stuff especially for the tenants. We're going to upgrade their laundry facilities, the shower facilities. We need more trash cans and upgraded lighting, just small things to make it more functional and safer for our boat owners.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Shoemaker?
Just one question on the lawnmower. Y'all do have a crew that cuts grass,
We do.
and they cut specifically just the just the harbors. Anything at any of the harbors that you're manage, they're in charge of cutting, weed eating, edging, and all that?
Yes.
Okay, all right, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shoemaker. I got a few questions. So you just touched on, you got a list of small things that are big, actually. Is that a list that, if this budget is passed, those are going to be put into effect?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, the garbage cans. We talked about fish grinders. There's some proponents that like it. There's some that don't.
All right.
What is our position on the fish grinders or whatever?
Fish grinders,
Or the grinders that they come in and?
it's a liability of we kind of looking into how we could do that where it would be safe. I think it's needed. I think we need to do something with the disposal of fish carcasses, but we want to make sure it's safe for, the boat owners and the public and stuff to have there. So that's something that's kind of
Still work in progress, did you say?
still a work in progress, yes, for sure.
Okay, I'm happy to hear about lighting. I didn't hear much about more cameras.
We are.
When I do walk around, that's one of the big things. I've got this stolen off my boat, and we have a harbor master, and maybe if we had more cameras, we could.
Right now, the cameras at Point Cadet and at the small craft, they cover almost everything. We need probably 5 or 6 more just to cover, just for better coverage of some areas, because that helps a lot for, when people wait for the harbor master to go one way, and then they'll board the boat and take something.
Just a couple more things. The restrooms, what is the restroom policy as far as it being accessible or?
Right now, there are codes on them. We don't turn down anyone to use a restroom. I have cameras in our building. I run down all the time and let people in the bathrooms, when they were just open, they were being vandalized, and all of our toilet paper was being stolen, and people would lock themselves in there, and so the codes helped. I don't know if it's something we need to continue to have there, but right now, it's working fine.
Okay, and this may be a little trickier question, doesn't intend it to be. So particularly at the small craft harbor, if I have a charter boat, what is the required signage? Is it in all the leases or the agreements? What am I required as far as signage, or what am I not allowed to do as far as signage?
For signage, they,
Is there a policy on the signage, or that's either required or you can't do this?
Yeah, there is a policy, it's in our charter boat rules and regulations that they are required to have a sign at their slip. Just having, their business name and a contact phone number.
What if I put walk-ups welcome? Is that allowed?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And if somebody is getting different information,
They should come directly to me.
Good.
And we will sort it
Okay.
out.
fair enough, fair enough.
I got another question.
Mr. Will?
And those questions wasn't mean, you're doing a great job. You really are. I mean, I see a big change in the harbors. I really do. We just want to make sure that you have the tools that you need and your guys to make sure that no boats sink.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we all know what kind of mess that is on the other boats whenever oil and diesel is getting splashed on your boat. You just spend a bunch of money for it. That question was not meant in no bad way. You're doing a great job. You really are, and you guys are. So I just want to make sure, if we don't bring these questions up, and bring light to them, that's what the questions was really meant for. So we just want to make sure that they have the training that they need to get these things done.
Doing a lot of training
Right. So
the last year.
and I just wanted to clarify that. I didn't mean to come across in no mean way or anything like that.
No.
Right.
I got a question. Is there a fee to launch or pull your boat up at any of the harbors?
No.
There's no fee to launch? Okay.
Sir.
I'll pull them up. Okay.
Your boat slips, what percentage are already leased?
I have that breakdown.
Good question.
So I have it, the percentages by each harbor. I don't have a total. So at the commercial dock, we're 88% lease. Poinsett Marina, we're at 57%. Sherman Canaan Dock, 92%. And the small craft harbor, we're at 90%.
So there's no waiting list or anything?
No, there is not a waiting list.
What's your length of your leases?
I'm sorry.
Your length for your leases, 1 year, 2 years?
They're 90 days, and then they're month to month until they decide to cancel.
Question.
Mr. Creel?
Do you foresee any increase in slip rental fees? No?
I do not, no.
Okay.
Well, I know y'all had a fishing tournament down there this weekend, and one of the biggest people was complaining about was the air conditioner was out in the bathrooms. Can you give us an update on that?
Absolutely. I spoke to Patterson's yesterday. We ordered the motor 3 weeks ago, and he told me that it came in yesterday, so it will be installed by the end of this week. We've been waiting.
Okay. Now, do you see yourself needing a committee down there? Because I know somebody was mentioning about a committee. Do you see yourself needing a harbor committee?
I don't believe we need a committee. I'm always welcomed. Like if somebody wants to have constructive criticism or give ideas and speak to me, I'm very available. As far as a committee, I mean anything positive, I'm for. I don't know if we necessarily need a committee, but if they want to have a volunteer group to, give ideas or anything like that, or, give a different perspective, I'm very open to that.
Okay, and one more question. If, let's say there's a tournament, and a boat pulls up to tie up to go to the, because I truly believe if, Danny puts on a big tournament every year, but no boats are allowed to tie up, and I understand you can't tie up in somebody's slip they're paying for, but if they tie up on a wall, but they're not allowed to?
During just regular tournaments or the billfish?
Right, no, not the billfish, just regular, like Danny puts on that 2-day shootout.
We have spots where people are able to pull up to go eat at the casinos or just come in to view the tournament. We do. We have locations for that.
Because I pulled up to go to Danny's tournament because I truly believe we should support anybody putting on a tournament. And I got ran off. I was told to leave before they called the cops on me. So, that was me, and
Additional training and instruction to the harbor masters will happen.
right, because, and that's why they don't have a big turnout. It's because you talk to anybody, they'll tell you that they're not allowed to tie up.
Really?
That's why they don't go to them turnouts. That's why there's not a big turnout.
With the exception of the billfish, where we lease every square inch of the harbor, Anybody pulling up with a boat should not be turned away to go view or participate in a tournament.
Right, I mean, because, like, say, they pay, the harbor, the bait shops, and, I guess Danny is still on this, special contract, but anyway, we should be able to support somebody like that.
Absolutely.
Because, after all, he does have he does sell beer and Cokes and ice, and that's tax dollars for the city.
Yes, sir.
So if you can maybe let your guys know.
We will.
So, all right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
We could, after this, if you could get with her and let her know what the time frame was and some other things about that, so we can address that with the employees.
That's fine. I'd say, I guess if they all just know from here moving forward, because, I have lots of friends that are on boats and they don't go, because how come y'all didn't go? Because we're not allowed to tie up. Because when I had my boat down there, I could never figure out why they all tied up to my boat,
We can do that, and we'll also address that through.
Did they vote for you? Did they vote for you?
No.
Okay.
They don't live in my ward.
Anything else? Anything else? We'll go ahead and bring this to a close. We want to thank everybody for this review. Any other closing?
None at this time, sir.
All right. Chair entertain a motion. But before we do, I need
Next workshop.
I need another workshop. Somebody make a recommendation for the next workshop.
I'll make a motion that our next workshop be next Tuesday, which would be August 12th at 1:30.
Okay. Everybody have a conflict with that? Everybody good?
I'm good.
All right. That's a motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Gray?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? I think motion was unanimous. I didn't see everybody saying, okay. Unanimous. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
By Mr. Creel. Any discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries.